Hello, guys and gals. Welcome back. How do we work out the key of a vocal? I've been asked this since the dawn of time, and for someone like me who can just hear something and play it, it's a really difficult question. I've always wondered if there is a way of doing this without any musical training that I could pass on and teach. And I think I've come up with a way. Let me show you something. Okay, so before we get moving here, we are going to be using our DAW's audio to Midi capabilities, for better or worse. I'll be using Ableton here, but every DAW can do this now. If you don't know how to do audio to Midi in your DAW, then I will leave some links to tutorials in the description. If your DAW is not represented there, then just give it a quick Google or YouTube search. I'm sure you'll be fine. After that, you can come back to us because nothing after that step is DAW specific. Now, before we do the conversion, there are a few prerequisites we need to have in place to give the virtual ears of our poor DAW friend here its best possible shot. This first one might sound obvious to some, but it's not to others. The vocal needs to be sung. Some of our newer producer friends out there might not realize that a rapped vocal or spoken vocal does not actually have any discrete pitch and therefore any key. In other words, if you're dealing with a rap or spoken vocal, you don't need this tutorial. It will fit over any key of track or sample that you have. So enjoy. The exception to that would be if the rap or spoken vocal is forced into pitch via some effect like a vocoder or auto-tune. In that case, stick around. The next thing we need to make sure is that our vocal in question is dry. What do we mean by dry? Dry means no ambient effects like echo, delay, or reverb. Those are just going to confuse the algorithm as it basically hears them as multiple pitches or other voices. Next, we need to make sure the vocal is as untouched as possible, meaning if you've time stretched it or pitch manipulated it in any way, then undo those changes because we need to be dealing with the original signal. And to that end, if you have a WAV instead of an MP3, all the better. Okay, so the last thing we need to check is if the vocal has been multi-tracked, like doubled or tripled. Here's an example of a vocal which is multi-tracked.
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry.
That might sound like one person to some of you, but that is in fact the same vocalist overlaying herself 2 or 3 times, what we call double or triple tracks. Here's what the solo would sound like.
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry.
Do you hear the difference?
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry. Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry.
You see? To some of you that are new to the game, that might sound like a subtle difference, but from the perspective of the virtual ears of our DAW algorithm here, that just sounds really confusing because again, it's multiple of the same pitch and it does not know which to latch onto. So with all that out of the way, we have the best possible chance of our DAW's algorithm getting it close to the real notes we're looking for. Let's analyze some vocals. Right, so let's convert some vocals. We have a bunch of takes from different songs here of my collaborations with Tasia Sky. Thank you to Tasia, because this way we're not going to get flagged by YouTube. Let's convert our first one here. In Ableton, it's rather simple. You just drag the audio onto a MIDI track that already has an instrument loaded. Select melody and cross your fingers. Wish me luck. Okay, so here's the concept. The first thing we're listening out for is what we call the home note. We're going to try and identify the home note. What is that exactly? It's basically where we think the vocal has come to a rest, where it's resolved, where it sounds most at home. Now, vocals, even sung, can mimic speech in the sense that questions can go upwards and answers go downwards. So one thing we can look out for is a kind of a question-answer scenario where it goes up and then resolves downwards because the end of that phrase might be the return to home. We can also just look at the end of phrases in general because that might be the return home, whether it's up or down. And our last guess is just simply going to be the note that it spends the most time on. So let's see if we can identify any home notes.
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry. Know that my tears will not fall from these eyes.
So just from that phrase, my guesses at the home note would be where she sings fight and cry,
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry. Fight, cry, cry, fight.
That one. Or where she finishes the phrase on eyes.
Eyes. Oh, that my tears will not fall from these eyes. Eyes.
One of those. Let's look at what happened in the MIDI.
Don't wanna fight, don't wanna cry. Know that my tears will not fall from these eyes. Even if I break down inside, know that my tears will not fall from these eyes.
Okay, it didn't give us the first eyes, but it's definitely this note.
From these eyes.
Because it gave us the last one.
From these eyes.
So we know which one that one is. Fight and cry. Let's zoom in.
Fight, don't wanna cry. Know that my tears will not fall from these eyes.
So our suspected home notes are either B or E. So now we've got a couple of guesses at home notes. Let me show you the hack. So the hack is we take the whole phrase and shift it so that our suspected home note lands on either A or C. And what we're looking for is, do most of the rest of the pitches land on white notes? So let's say we think B might be the home note here. We grab all these and we move it down so that the B is on an A. And we're looking out for what lands on the white notes. I've colored the black notes in here so you can see what we're trying to avoid. And we can see most of these work, except these here. So let's now try our home note on C. Does that fare any better? No, that's worse because we've got these and these. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Our other suspect was this E. Same drill, move the home note until it's on A. And check for white notes. No, mostly this is looking good. All of these. These, good. Let's check the home note on C. And these again don't land. So it looks like the best fit is this note being the home. Now here's the hack. When the home note fits best on A, that means your track is in a minor key, and that original home note is the key. So in this case, our original home note was E. So that would make this vocal in E minor. It's that simple. And if your home note works out best when it lands on a C, that means the vocal is in a major key of that home note. Let's do some more so we get the hang of it. Going to convert our next one here. It is the overdrive vocal.
Can't stop this feeling cause it seems so right. Only you can make me come alive.
If you remember in last week's video, it didn't do too well with this, but that was a multi-tracked vocal. This is the solo vocal. In theory, this should do much better now. What do we get?
Can't stop this feeling cause it seems so right. Only you can make me come alive. You got my body working overtime. Boy, you send me into overdrive.
Okay. Well, it is better than last week. So, based on the rules of finding home notes, this is the one that spent the most time on. This G sharp here. And in terms of end of phrasing, resolves would be the F sharp here. Okay, so let's take G sharp as our first guess. Move everything so that's on A. Do the rest land on white notes? Yep, most do, except this one. So we tried on C. And again, this is a problem, but these are also a problem now. So it could be that one on A. So we undo, and now we try, see what the guess looks like on this F sharp here. Let's move that to A. This is looking better. There's only these here. Let's try that on C. No, again, these fall onto the black notes. So the best chance is that this F sharp is the home note, in which case it fit best on A. So that makes it a minor key song. So it's F sharp minor. Let's keep going. Next one. Here's our vocal.
I've been waiting on for your love for so long and I can't go on.
What does the MIDI look like?
I've been waiting on for your love for so long and I can't go on. I've been waiting on for your love, feels so wrong, now it's time I'm gone.
That's obviously a mistake. I'm just going to delete that one. Okay, so where do we spend the most time? That's hard to say, really.
I've been waiting on for your love for so long and I can't go on.
It's probably this. And that is also our end of phrase note. So E is our suspect here. So we grab the lot and we move E to A and look for white notes. So these don't fit. So that's not looking great. Let's try it on C. And now these don't fit. So that's not looking great. So we need to guess at another home note. Let's go back to where we were. Now your next suspicion might be the D here. Apart from this flick upwards to the E, this would be our end of phrase note. So let's try what that looks like. Let's move it to A. This is good. So if D is the home note, then this vocal would be D minor. Now, just before I leave this vocal, you'll notice its original position also lands on mostly white notes. If you take this A already as the home note, you could also treat this as A minor. So this brings up something that a lot of people won't know. Vocals can be in multiple keys. There's only 12 notes to choose from, remember? And most scales only use 7 of those notes. So as you might be able to imagine, some will inevitably overlap. Keys can share notes, they just start in different places. And when we have a vocal melody here, for example, this is only a 4-bar, 8-bar melody, sometimes there won't be enough notes in the entire phrase to truly know the key. And you'll quite often find that most melodies don't use every note in the scale. So don't be surprised to find that vocals or melodies in general can fit over multiple scales or keys. So in other words, this vocal will fit on D minor or A minor. Now it might fit one much better than the others, but that will just become apparent when you try. But narrowing this down to 2 possibilities out of 24 is certainly a good start, right? Let's keep going. Okay, what do we have now?
I'm so obsessed with your love, I'm so obsessed with your love. Can't get enough of your touch, can't get enough of your touch. I'm so obsessed with your love, I'm so obsessed with your love. Can't get enough of your touch, can't get enough of your touch.
Okay, that's a repeated phrase. I think the first half sounded more accurate anyway, so I'm just going to take these notes as our best representation of what's going on. So which are home notes do we think? This is probably where we spend most of the time.
Such your love, can't get enough of your touch, can't get enough of your touch.
And they are end of phrase. Second suspicion might be...
I'm so obsessed with your love.
That sounds like a finished phrase.
So obsessed with your love.
The love. We spend a little bit of time here as well. So it's D sharp or C sharp would be our suspected home note. So let's first move the D sharp onto an A. Yes, most of those land. And let's try this note onto an A. So no, those don't land. We need to try them on C as well. So this one on C doesn't work. Let's try this one. And that one works really well as well. So when we have more white notes when the home note is on C, that indicates major. And when we have more white notes when the home note is on A, that would indicate minor. So this vocal is either in D sharp minor or C sharp major. Either of those will work. Okay, on to the next one. What do we have here?
Oh, yeah, just like have fun, have fun. I ain't giving you up, 'cause I'm in need of loving, touching, so will you hurry up?
I think we have two obvious guesses at home notes here. The end of the phrase is this G sharp, and we spend a lot of time on D sharp as well. So we know the drill. We'll try the D sharp first. We're going to move that to A. Where do the rest of the notes land? Yep, they're all in the white notes. So this could be D sharp minor. If we move to C, not so much. So it's not D sharp major. It's definitely either D sharp minor, or let's take our G sharp here, move that to A. Where do we land? Yes, these are all good as well. So it's either G sharp minor or D sharp minor. Okie dokie. I think that's enough examples for now. You get the idea, right? Find your home note or suspected home notes. Move the entire phrase so that that home note lands on A or C. Check the rest of the phrase to see where they are landing. Whichever has the most white notes is the indicator of key. If most notes fall on white notes when you move the home key to A, that means the vocal is in a minor key and that original home note is the key. If, however, you land on most white notes when you change the home note to a C, that means your vocal is in a major key, with the original home note being that key. It's a little bit janky, I know, but if you don't have the ear training yet, I think this is your best shot at working out your vocal keys. Let me know if you would have guessed the same home notes in these examples. Or if you want to send me any guesses of vocals you've worked out, DM me on Insta, or you can always email me at bthelick@gmail.com. Let's see if it's working for you guys. If it did help you out, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Do I sound like a real YouTuber, guys? Do I? Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.